I ask myself only two things in the morning. Are we doing something wrong which we should not be doing? Or are we not doing something right which we should be doing? And at the end of the day, I can answer both questions. No, no, I'm happy.
A bright policymaker, an articulate leader, and a shrewd lawyer, P. Chidambaram has played an important role in forming modern India's economic policies and political relationships. Here's a look at his journey from lawyer to four-time finance minister through a series of rare interviews.
You're quibbling on words.
No, I'm not quibbling. What I'm trying to do...
Am I entitled to an opinion?
No, I'm simply answering
your
question
to an
about quibbling. Can I just explain that? Then
no, you don't have to explain. Let me explain my position. You are quibbling, and therefore there's no point quibbling on an interview.
Palaniappan Chidambaram was born on September 16, 1945 in Tamil Nadu's Sivaganga district to a wealthy industrialist family.
I went to Presidency College for my basic undergraduate degree. There was a reservation. I went to law college for my law degree with this reservation. I'm not a beneficiary of reservation, but I know that reservation brought in students to my class who would otherwise have never got in.
He then went on to earn his MBA from Harvard Business School. He returned to India and started practicing as a lawyer in the Madras High Court. He joined the Congress in 1972 and quickly rose through the ranks, at one point translating Indira Gandhi's speeches into Tamil for her. He took the electoral plunge in 1984, becoming a first-time MP at age 39. He grew close to Rajiv Gandhi, serving in his cabinet as a junior minister. After the Congress returned to power in 1991, he was made MOS Commerce. A year later, he resigned after it came to light that he invested in a company owned by the scam-tainted Harshad Mehta. It was BJP leader Arun Jaitley who then successfully defended Chidambaram in court. He was reinstated as a minister in 1995, but the Congress's decision to ally with the AIADMK in 1996 left Chidambaram fuming as he had an ongoing spat with the AIADMK chief Jayalalitha. He and a few other Congress leaders broke away from the party to form the Tamil Manala Congress. The TMC was part of the 1996 United Front coalition government, and Chidambaram was given the plum post of Union Finance Minister.
Take the Fortune 500 companies. How many of them are there in India? Now, where are the remaining companies? Why are they not in India? I would target it sector-wise, industry-wise, even company-wise, and invite them to India to make the investment.
In 1997, he presented what was termed as a dream budget, where he slashed income tax and corporate tax rates. This helped widen the tax base and establish his standing as a pro-business politician.
I don't do things to please or displease anyone. I do things which I believe are necessary to strengthen the fundamentals of the Indian economy.
Chidambaram's stint was cut short after he was defeated in the 1999 Lok Sabha elections.
And in Tamil Nadu, no party can win without allies. I lost because the TMC had no allies.
He then decided to form his own regional party in 2001. After failing to drum up public support, he then merged with the Congress ahead of the 2004 Lok Sabha elections. It was a smart move as the Congress swept the polls and Chidambaram was made the finance minister in the Manmohan Singh cabinet, and he had big plans.
Reform is not only about a world-class manufacturing sector or exports or FDI or a capital market. Those are necessary. But reforms is about people. Reforms is about changing the lives of people. Reforms is about bringing some cheer, some hope, some dignity to people who have lived in poverty, their lives, their fathers' lives, their grandfathers' lives. So reforms is bringing some measure of comfort and some satisfaction to the people, isn't it?
Those reforms included raising the income tax exemption limit to 1 lakh and abolishing long-term capital gains tax.
Are they happy now?
They seem to be very happy. All the press reports that I've read, all the statements that I've heard, everybody's happy. But like Oliver Twist, someone will always ask for more.
Chidambaram had to work hard to placate the left, which often clashed with the UPA over economic policies.
Before you demit office as a government,
Yes.
retail FDI will have happened.
In some sectors of retail.
But it will have happened.
I think so. Yes.
Again, that's a commitment you're making.
A commitment I make, and I'm going to try to keep it.
Try to keep it. Will the left let you?
I think so.
Think so, you're not sure.
Well, how can I speak for the left? I can only persuade them. How can I speak for you for that matter?
Let's let that smile speak for you.
While the first part of his tenure saw an uptick in growth, rising inflation rates in 2008 led to calls for his resignation.
With inflation crossing 11%, senior leaders of the CPI, including the General Secretary A.B. Bardhan, have publicly called for your resignation. Is this politics, or can you accept that you haven't been able to handle inflation as effectively as you ought to have?
Well, I'm delighted that Mr. Bardhan should want my job. I'll be very happy if he can step forward and join the government and one of the members of his party takes over this portfolio. These are political statements. The point is one must understand why there is double-digit inflation today, why there is double-digit inflation in virtually every developing country.
As time went on, Chidambaram, as a senior minister in the UPA government, came in for sharp and persistent scrutiny from the media.
What will you be providing? The banks have provided part of the 60,000 crores.
See, any number of times you ask that question, you'll get the same answer.
No,
my advice is to move on.
No, but it is important to get that clarity.
Okay, you can ask the question, you'll get the same answer.
But it is important to get, you're also obligated to answer the question to the extent you can.
Please, I'm making it very clear now. We are obliged to provide equivalent liquidity to the banks, and we will do that. I'm not giving any more answer now.
Theoretically speaking, would you be able to, for instance, fund this from non-debt capital receipts on the budget? Could you, for instance,
I don't wish to answer the question now.
No, but is it a possibility before you?
I don't wish to answer the question now.
No, it is important for you to answer.
I think we'll have to call out this meeting.
No, sir. Okay.
This is not on.
Okay.
I told you 3-4 times politely. This is not on. You've got this habit. Sorry, cancel this.
In 2008, he took charge as Home Minister after Shivraj Patil resigned over the 26/11 terror attacks.
This was an extraterritorial operation. They launched it from Pakistan. They attacked Mumbai. They didn't run the operation in India. It's possible that one among the people who were in the planning was an Indian or a Pakistani who had acquired over a period of time Indian characteristics.
In 2009, he won his 7th term as MP, winning from the Sivaganga seat by a slim margin of just over 3,000 votes. During his 2nd term as Home Minister, he launched Operation Green Hunt to crack down on Naxalites and also set up the National Investigation Agency to combat terror. In 2010, the then Gujarat Home Minister Amit Shah was arrested in the Sohrabuddin fake encounter case. Shah alleged his arrest was a political witch hunt by Chidambaram.
ये झूठा केस है और राजकीय द्वेष से प्रेरित है, इसलिए मैंने ही कंसेंट दी थी कि केस देश की किसी भी अदालत में चले मैं फेस कर लूंगा। गुजरात में जाऊंगा और धड़ल्ले से प्रचार करूंगा और कांग्रेस को मुंह तोड़ जवाब देंगे।
Chidambaram further found himself at the receiving end of BJP fury over the use of the phrase saffron terror.
There is a recently uncovered phenomenon of saffron terrorism that has been implicated in many bomb blasts of the past.
There is no word as and no term as saffron terror. And effectively in both the houses we have said that.
In 2011, he faced heavy criticism for failing to prevent the Mumbai bomb blast in which 26 people were killed. The Home Ministry was also lambasted when their most wanted list of terrorists in Pakistan included 2 who were in India.
The leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha has publicly said that before the government can wage a war on terror, it needs to wage a war on error.
Good play of words. Good play of words. I congratulate him on that. But if you want a standard for incompetence, as I pointed out, I think the standard is when the Home Minister of the day admitted that 3 terrorists were taken out of Indian prisons and flown by the Foreign Minister to Pakistan without his knowledge.
That same year, Subramanian Swamy moved the CBI court, seeking to make Chidambaram a co-accused in the 2G scam, leading to a massive political storm.
बिल्कुल चिदम्बरम का नाम है क्योंकि वो सबसे भ्रष्ट मंत्री है। भले अखबार वालों को दबाव करके उन्होंने एक इमेज टाइट किया कि वो बड़ा ईमानदार है, पढ़ा लिखा है।
Mr. Chidambaram is concerned. As finance minister, he continued to enjoy my full confidence. As home minister, he continues to enjoy my full confidence.
In 2012, he was made finance minister once again after Pranab Mukherjee became president. He was able to attract significant foreign investment, but once again, controversy would come to haunt him. This time, Swamy accused him of allegedly misusing power to delay the 2006 Aircel Maxis deal so that his son Karthi could benefit, something Chidambaram vehemently rejected.
It would be much simpler if somebody took a dagger and plunged it into my heart rather than question my integrity.
But despite rising public anger against the UPA, Chidambaram was confident of a victory in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections.
That you go into the elections clearly as the underdog.
But you are taking words out of my mouth. I would rather go into an election as an underdog than on a triumphal note.
But that's not an answer to my question.
Again, you're not allowing me to complete the answer. I said it in Davos, I've said it here. I would rather go into an election as an underdog rather than on a triumphal note, because I know, again, you're not allowing me to complete.
I'm not interrupting.
No, you shouldn't make those gestures either. I don't make gestures at you. I know what happened to parties which went into an election on a triumphal note in 2004 and 2009.
However, he announced he would not contest the elections and instead fielded his son Karthi from the Sivaganga seat. Karthi was unable to win, losing the Chidambaram bastion to the AIADMK. In 2016, Chidambaram found his way back in Parliament after being elected to the Rajya Sabha and proved he had not lost any of his firepower.
The Pentagon has been hacked. 500 million accounts have been hacked by somebody sitting in some country of Europe. What is the guarantee that you have the technology to prevent hacking of bank accounts, hacking of income tax accounts through the Aadhaar number?
The Pentagon got hacked even without the Aadhaar being there. So the hacking doesn't take place because of Aadhaar.
Sir, I appeal to the finance minister not to trivialize the question. I asked him a serious question and I request him to seriously answer.
In 2017, the Enforcement Directorate filed a case against him in the INX media case, accusing him of corruption and money laundering.
You've been saying this from the beginning, that this is a non-case. This is an absolutely non-case. So there are no bank accounts, there are no undeclared properties, there are no shell companies. I've said this ad nauseum. So how can you ask about something which doesn't exist? They don't exist, they're all phantoms and ghosts. It's just a smoke screen for political purposes, that's all.
इसमें से बहुत सारी एफआईआर यूपीए सरकार में रजिस्टर हुई, हमने नहीं करी, हम इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रहे हैं और जो आरोप लग रहा है वो पॉलिटिकल वेंडेटा का लग रहा है।
जी।
अगर पॉलिटिकल वेंडेटा होता तो 6 साल क्यों लगते?
Chidambaram tried to file anticipatory bail pleas in the Supreme Court, but it was rejected. His arrest from his residence in Delhi was preceded by some dramatic pictures, with CBI cops scaling walls to enter the premises. The former finance minister then spent 105 days in Tihar jail before being granted bail, showing no signs that he was beaten down.
I'm happy that the Supreme Court has passed an order granting bail, and I'm happy that I've stepped out and breathing the air of freedom after 106 days.
Over the years, Chidambaram has been regarded as a bright intellectual who often used poetry to attack his political opponents.
Poet is Thiruvalluvar, but I think the one choral which is relevant to both the government of Tamil Nadu and the government of India today is Idippare illa Yemara Mannan Keduppar inum Kedum. A king without critics will fail even if he has no enemies. Mr. Modi doesn't tolerate dissent. If there is one person who surpasses Mr. Modi in this behalf, is our Chief Minister, Ms. Jayalalitha. She doesn't tolerate dissent.
His tenure as a dynamic finance minister brought in bold economic reforms, but the INX media case has caused him considerable discomfort, both politically and otherwise. The Congress, however, continues to stand by him and look to him for political advice as they navigate a leadership crisis.